What's up, everybody? This is another episode. Well, this is the first episode, actually, not another. The first episode of the G Show podcast, but this is the Star Wars podcast. Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you might have heard me ramble on about some Star Wars stuff last week or 2 weeks ago, but this being Tuesday, April 26th, that's right, it's Aliens Day, we are going to be doing a Star Wars podcast every Tuesday now. So this is our first Tuesday Star Wars official podcast. And of course, if you're listening to this, I am G1, joined by none other than
G95.
That's right, my partner in crime, or geek as you will. We are here to talk Star Wars, okay? So Tuesdays we're doing nothing but Star Wars. And Star Wars is back. It's back in a major way. I know you guys, you might like it, you might not like it. I freaking love it. And G95, what are your thoughts on a galaxy far, far away?
How can I not love it?
See? So that's what we're here to discuss on Tuesdays, and this being Tuesday, we are here to discuss Star Wars. What are we discussing today, though? Let's get into that. First things first, I know this dropped a week or two ago, but this is the first time we are covering it through a podcast. So I want to talk G95. I want to talk about the Rogue One trailer and what were your thoughts on that?
Oh, I had chills. I am ready for it to be December and to see some more fucking Star Wars. I loved the Death Troopers, for the lack of a better term, I guess. I've heard some theories on who is kneeling in that big chamber, and if that's a back to tank, and if that's someone in who may or may not be in that back to tank.
No, I love speculation. You know that.
Oh, I know. Oh man, it looks great. I know it takes place. Isn't it just a few weeks before New Hope does?
No, I think it is several months before New Hope, but it's definitely closer to a New Hope, than it would. It's definitely towards the tail end.
Part to say is, like, it's safe to assume that it's within at the most, like 6 months before A New Hope.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. I would say within 6 months to a year before A New Hope. So yeah. Yeah, man. So you like the trailer, huh?
Oh yeah. What do you think?
Listen, I'm gonna put it like this. And of course, we didn't discuss this yet, but I'm gonna put it like this. Gareth Edwards is my all-time favorite director right now. I know, listen, don't tune out right now. Don't click off and say, oh, G1, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. No, hear me out, please. I love Godzilla. And I'm not talking Gareth Edwards. As a character, what Toho has brought us, I love Godzilla. And I love Star Wars. You guys don't understand the inner fight I have within myself. Is it Star Wars? Is it Godzilla? It's every fucking day. I have a Godzilla tattoo on my arm. I have no Star Wars ink on me. Okay? But I love Star Wars. And Gareth Edwards has had the opportunity to do both of my favorite properties. Fuck him. I mean, in a good way. He is my favorite director. I am so jealous of this guy. Okay? Because look, I am one of the people who will defend Legendary's 2014 Godzilla, and we will discuss that later. But I'm going to say this, because we are a Star Wars podcast here. I'm going to say this. What I've seen in this teaser trailer alone leads me to believe this guy knows his Star Wars. Okay? He's a fan. He knows his stuff. It's evident in the trailer. He gives us pretty much all of these insane visuals that you want to see. And it's very hard because you think about it like this. This is a story that's technically a prequel. It's like the fourth prequel, It is right before episode 4. It's right there. It's right. It's not in the middle. It's like literally, it's like the prologue to episode 4, you know? And from what we see in this trailer, it's like you get these ads on the beach, storm the beach, uh, the stormtroopers, like the classic looks. You see giant explosion. Now, I just want to throw this in here too. Guys, me, G1, I am a giant war buff. Giant war, like, I like war movies. I do. And this movie seems to be bringing the war to Star Wars. So I'm totally all over this movie. I am totally on board. And I cannot wait. I mean, Jesus. I mean, you see the damn Death Star dish getting put? Oh, you kidding me? I'm so on board. I'm so sold. I cannot wait. Gareth Edwards, I love you. Hurry up. Finish doing whatever you got to do with this movie so you can get on to Godzilla 2. But I really hope you come back. And especially if this movie is that good, I hope you come back to this galaxy set far, far away. So that's my spiel. I am sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I went on a tangent just now. It's just how I feel. Some might feel the same way. Some might not. It's just how I feel. But yeah, so yeah, dude, that's how. Dude, let me hear your theories. You said you heard something about the Bacta tank. That's very interesting to me.
I didn't think it was back to tank before I looked at it a little bit closer, but once you compare the back to tank that Luke was in Empire, it's a back to tank. And someone is clearly in there, obviously, and someone is kneeling down to him. I heard a theory that it's Supreme Leader Snoke in there, and they're kneeling before him is Palpatine. Because you see the Red Guards, and
the Red Guards
are sort of exclusively Emperor Palpatine. You know, they like if Darth Vader gave the Red Guards an order, they would just ignore him.
Right.
So they're clearly on. They were clearly assigned to guard this back to tank and whoever's in it. I don't think it's Palpatine though. I think he's a little bit too arrogant to
be kneeling down.
To kneel down to anyone, even if they theorize that he and Snoke were more or less buddies.
Right. They want to say that Snoke might be Plagueis that Palpatine mentions in Revenge of the Sith. I don't buy that theory, but I get where they're coming from.
I could see it being true, but that would kind of go against Emperor Palpatine killing Darth Plagueis, like he hinted at. So I don't think it's Snoke in there, and if it is Snoke, I don't think it's Palpatine kneeling before him. But that's one little crazy theory I heard. I haven't heard a whole lot of other big speculations on it. I watched it a few times. I really enjoyed it. The big battle that looks like at a beachhead looks fantastic with the AT-ATs.
Oh my god, I love it so much. Look, we got. Okay, you say AT-ATs, I say AT-ATs because
I go with AT-ATs.
Like, hey, that's a generational gap, and I love that. So that's perfect. We got to see them in the snow. Now we get to see them in the beach. I love it. I love it. I cannot wait. I'm sorry. Go ahead. See, I'm buttoning.
That's all right. But speaking of the AT-AT AT-AT debate, would you call? I mean, well, you call them AT-ATs. So would you call the AT-STs the ATs?
No, I call them chicken walkers.
Oh, all right, that's fair.
I call them chicken walkers. Yes, I do.
They are chicken walkers, yeah. But I mean, do you want to go by the technical name?
Oh, absolutely. But you know what? I always figured I was a part of the Rebel Alliance. So screw that technical term. They're chicken walkers. Let's blow them up.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, dude. What is your theory though for the back to tank scene? What you said, what you read, and what other people are theorizing. What do you think though?
I don't know what to think really. I don't know enough about. We don't know enough about this movie yet to really go that far into speculation. All we can do is take what we've seen in the original trilogy take what we've seen in The Force Awakens, and if Disney is trying to kind of connect pieces from individual movies um, to build a bigger shared world kind of experience for us, that they, much like they did with the Avengers and all that, um, then somebody from another movie might make an appearance in one of these spin-off movies. I mean, it's strongly rumored that, or it may be already confirmed, that Darth Vader is going to have a scene or two in Rogue One.
I don't think just a scene or two. I think that man is dedicated at least 15 to 20 solid minutes of some hardcore Vader killing action.
Well, I mean, you say you don't like to read spoilers, so...
Oh, no, that's not spoilers. It's the way I look at it is like this. This movie is set between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
That's Vader. That's Vader time. And you think about when you watch the first Star Wars movie, A New Hope, it's Vader that gets to the ship, you know. He's the one that gets, you know, to the ship. He's on a mission at that point. So this is the beginning of that mission he's on. So that's why I believe we're going to get to see a real significant amount of time with Darth Vader. And I'm all for that, honestly. I am totally for that. Especially if you get James Earl Jones to voice Darth Vader like he does in Star Wars Rebels.
Rebels is a pretty good show, actually. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Oh, we're going to talk about that, not today, but we will talk about it. We're gonna...
I know.
Oh, yeah. But
yeah, this is more or less Vader in his prime, I guess, of just murder.
Right. So, but who do you think is in the back to tank? Because that is a back to tank. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, no. Well, it's obviously not Darth Vader because he has his meditation chamber and his, you know, own armor and stuff to keep him going. It would make sense that Snoke would be a part of it, and that's how he was able to kind of like say he was working either with the Empire or for the Empire to a degree. That would make, after, you know, Palpatine died, it would, and the Empire kind of fell, it would make sense for him to be, as, let's just assume, a high-ranking officer for, you know, let's suppose he was a high-ranking officer. I mean, I'm sure he was well above that if he was with the Empire.
Right.
So getting into speculation here, after the Empire falls, he's, you know, someone at the tippy top of the former Empire, so it's easy for him to build it back up together with the First Order as, you know, a high-ranking person.
Gotcha.
So it could be Snoke. Could be Palpatine, maybe. I don't know. Could be someone totally new. It could just be a really cool visual that they're like, okay, that's a cool looking shot. Let's throw it in the trailer.
So let me ask you another question, just to spin it. Who's the guy kneeling? Well, I shouldn't say guy. Who's the person kneeling? Because it could be a girl. We never know.
I don't think it's Palpatine.
Me neither.
I think it's probably some new character we haven't seen yet.
And I agree with that. You know who new character I think that might be?
Who?
Forrest Whitaker.
Why do you say that? Do you think... Are you assuming that Forrest Whitaker is a double agent?
I think Forrest Whitaker starts off as a bounty hunter for the Empire, and then eventually was like, you know what? No, can't do this. I think that is Forrest Whitaker kneeling down in front of the back tank of the Emperor. I think that's the Emperor in the back tank because of the Royal Guards. To me, that's the dead giveaway. I think the Royal Guards are the dead giveaway because every time we've seen... The first time we've seen the Royal Guards was in Return of the Jedi, and there was always two, and they were always side by side with the Emperor in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And in that shot, you have somebody kneeling down. Now, and this is the big deal. The person kneeling down is hooded. Vader would not wear a hood. There's no reason to wear a hood because he's already got the mask and the helmet. There's no reason to cover up. So I can't believe that's Vader because there's no reason to cover up, you know?
It's absolutely not Vader.
Right.
And I never thought it was.
Yeah, me either. So I think it's actually Forrest Whitaker's character as a bounty hunter because he's wearing the black garb and it looks like he can have a hood of sorts if he wanted to in the shot that he's in the trailer. And I think it's his character, and then eventually either has a change of heart or whatever the case may go, wherever the story may take us. We know the outcome, though. We know that the plans get into the rebels' hands, and they destroy the Death Star. Why do we know this? Because we've all seen Star Wars: A New Hope. We know how this ends.
Yeah.
But this story is very interesting. This trailer was very well done.
But let me.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I can interrupt for a second. So suppose he was a bounty hunter. Why would a bounty hunter, more or less a free agent, be kneeling down to the emperor? I assume most bounty hunters actually have no real love for the empire. They just kind of do it because the money's good. Why would this bounty hunter be kneeling to the emperor in a bacta tank, and why would the emperor give him this mission personally?
Well, I like that question. That's a really good question. I believe that maybe it's because he was probably a part of the original saga, and not that we saw him, but he was there. Maybe he was the Emperor's hand. Kind of like Mara Jade was, if you know your extended universe. And we're going to get into that in a minute, too. Mara Jade was like the Emperor's hand. Okay? Maybe this bounty hunter was something like that. He was the Wetworks guy. He was the Black Ops. He was the guy. I mean, granted, you got Vader. You can send Vader to do whatever the hell you want and kill whoever you wanted. But Vader's main mission between episodes 3 and 4 was wipe out the Jedi. The reason why Vader is involved in episode 4 is because somebody stole the Death Star plans. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I could totally see this bounty hunter being contracted to Palpatine's clique. Like exclusively. You know, like, yeah, he's a free agent, he's a bounty hunter, but if this dude calls, I'm running. I'm going in. I'm going and doing what I got to do for that person right there. But again, that's all speculation, ladies and gentlemen. That's all we're doing here. We don't know for sure. All we know that there is a bacta tank, there's 2 Imperial guards, and there is somebody with a hood on that's kneeling. That's it.
You know who it could be?
Oh, I want to hear it.
It would be cool if it was an Inquisitor.
And that's the thing. I don't believe I would love that. And we're talking Star Wars Rebels, ladies and gentlemen of GSO land that don't know what an Inquisitor is. Star Wars Rebels, the animated show on Disney XD. Please, there's 2 seasons of that out. Season 2 just wrapped a couple of weeks ago. Check out both seasons. Man, listen, go in. It might start off slow. It is so worth watching both seasons together. It is awesome. That is a very good point you bring up about an Inquisitor. I don't believe it is, though. I think we've seen the last of the Inquisitors in the season finale of Rebels Season 2. I think we're done with them. I'm not sure, but it looks like Maul took care of business. Which brings me to another crazy theory. What if it's Maul? I don't want it to be Maul. I really hate that theory, but I just got to throw it out there. But we know he's alive.
Yeah.
I would love one of these Star Wars stories to be about Obi-Wan Kenobi. And look, Ewan McGregor is on record saying, I want to do it. Let him, please. There are stories about Obi-Wan on Tatooine that we should see, that it's got to be good. And you bring Maul back, which he is back, and it's in canon now. Maul, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, Darth Maul did not die at the end of episode 1. He's alive and well. He's alive. He's got a robotic bottom. His legs are mechanic. It's all robotic. And he's not a Sith. He's a Force wielder that, does evil things. So, he practices the dark arts, but he's not a part of the Jedi. He's not a Sith. Mm-hmm. He's just this free agent, like a bounty hunter, if you will. But yeah, what if it was Darth Maul? Yeah, I don't buy that, but
another dark wielder like the Inquisitor.
Right.
Yeah. I haven't finished season 2 of Rebels yet, so now I'm going to have to jump on that and finish up the last 2 episodes.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I might have spoiled season 2 for G95, and I apologize.
I'm pretty sure that Darth Maul came back when I saw the mid-season trailer for the rest of season 2.
Right, call me old master.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude,
so I was pretty sure, and I'm glad they did bring him back, because he was written off Star Wars Clone Wars in a very weird way.
Yeah, it wasn't finished. That story was not finished. It pissed me off. And I was happy to see him back.
I think they were planning to do more, but they didn't get picked up for another season or whatever.
What I think is they did some books to kind of cover that, what happened. Because at the end...
they did. It was like, it was something of Dathomir, which is where
it's from. Right. At the end of Clone Wars, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't watch it, Darth Maul was back with his brother, and his brother wound up getting killed. And you remember that? You saw that?
Yep.
Yeah. And then by the Emperor, exactly. And then the Emperor took Maul back, but then nothing came of that. That was the end of that arc. But nothing ever came of that, and we don't know whatever happened to Darth Maul because it stopped. But in Star Wars Rebels Season 2, this last episode, we get to see what happened to Maul. But before that, there was a book featuring Darth Maul, and I don't remember the name right now, and I'm sorry, but it's out there. You can look it up, Darth Maul book, Clone Wars Saga, whatever the case may be. You'll find it. It's there, and that bridges the gap between Clone Wars and I guess where we see him again at Rebels. And yes, that might be spoilers for those who haven't seen it, but I spoil the good stuff. What I'm saying is, watch Clone Wars, watch Rebels. Right.
Either of them.
Those are some...
Rebels for me is a little slow. Some episodes just drag on and on, but when they're on, they are so fucking on.
I totally agree with you, and it's like that's such a delicate place in time to mess with. So they have to pace themselves. And I agree with you. There are some episodes that are slow, and I don't want people who are fans of Star Wars to get turned off by that. If you're a fan of Star Wars, you're gonna push through anyway. You're gonna watch them, and you're gonna feel like we did. Yeah, some of these episodes were slow, but in the grand scale, amazing awesomeness. Period. So yeah.
And for those who haven't watched Clone Wars, I don't know your exact thoughts on it, but I thought Clone Wars all 5 or 6 seasons were amazing through and through. There were some slow episodes, but it was just refreshing to get to see clones with personalities.
Okay, so I'll tell you straight up. When they first aired, I wasn't a fan on television. I don't care. I know what happens to these characters. That was my mindset. I know where this is going. What I wanted was, and I think this might have had another thing to do with me not watching the show, I wanted to see the Clone Wars explored in the movies. I didn't want to see the beginning of the Clone Wars at the end of Attack of the Clones, and then the end of the Clone Wars at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see a Clone Wars movie, and we got that, but it was animated. And I didn't want to see it animated. I wanted to actually see it live action. I wanted to see that because for me, I would say, because I wasn't born in 1977. So when I saw Star Wars, we're talking 30 plus years of me like, what the fuck is the Clone Wars? Until it came out, So, but yeah, no, I didn't watch it live while it came out. When it all dropped on Netflix, I said, let's go. I sat down, I started watching, and it was instant classic.
Yep, that's exactly how I felt too. I I was pretty opposed to watching it for a long time, just because it's like, oh, I don't need to see this. And I sat down to watch it a few months ago. Um, I was actually just starting the Darth Maul arc when Force Awakens came out. Um, so that was a few months ago that I watched it, and it's phenomenal.
Right.
It's like it had me hooked from episode one, which episode one was essentially just a random filler episode about a race between Yoda, some clones, and a Zaj Ventress.
Well, you know that they were shown out of order. I had a list.
Yeah. Yep.
So when I watched it on Netflix, I went by the list of how I should watch it, and man, did it work. I mean, it blew my mind. The Clone Wars, like I said, man, I wanted to see it live action. I wanted to see it on screen. I wish all of episode 2 was just the Clone Wars. But we didn't get that. But that animated series, as much as I did not want to see it at first, blew me away. It was perfect. And yes, we got to see the Clone Wars. And 5 is my favorite clone of all time.
I gotta know Captain Rex.
No, you know the rumor, right? You know the theory that kind of like got put into continuity?
No.
So you see Rex now, spoiler alert, people who didn't watch Clone Wars who should have, and who didn't watch Rebels who should be watching it. Captain Rex is on Rebels. He is a clone. Rex was a clone from the jump. Captain Rex is in Return of the Jedi. Oh yeah. There is and you gotta watch it again, take a peek, and I got this, listen. From Jedi Council, Collider Videos, if you guys don't look, if you like Star Wars, watch them. They are on every Thursday. They're freaking cool. I love them. Somebody hit them with it, and the theory was going around, and Dave Filoni, who's the showrunner of Clone Wars and Rebels, he said, yeah, it's real. They retconned and put Captain Rex, he never dies. He's in Return of the Jedi when the scout trooper goes to run on the side of the base, and all the rebels are there with their guns pointed, and he puts his hands up. It's early before the Battle of Endor. There is a dude right in the front, kneeling down with his gun on. He's got this big white bushy beard and the helmet on. And they say that's Captain Rex, because in Rebels, he's got the big white bushy beard. Yeah, I loved it. I was like, you know what? I'm sold. I buy it. Let's rock.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah, why not, right? It's freaking awesome.
It's also worth mentioning that anybody who hasn't watched it should watch the other Clone Wars animated series that we got back in 2003, I believe. It was produced by the animation studio who did Samurai Jack.
Yes.
Totally different style and vibe. The clones were much. You didn't in the CG animated show, the one we've been talking about however long this has been. The clones had personalities, and you get to know them a lot more. In this other animated series, this more or less 2D version, it's polar opposite. They're soldiers. They're mysterious and badass, and my God, is that series fun?
Yeah, I totally agree. I do like that Clone Wars. I did watch all of that way before I seen.
You own that?
I do not own them. I remember watching them live.
You should track down the DVDs. Disc 2, or essentially Season 2, is a little bit more spendy. Like, it goes for about $35, just because it's out of print and really hard to find.
Right.
Disc 1 is pretty easy to find, but if you can find them, like, pawn shops, or I don't know if you have like half-price books in your area, but that's where I picked up mine, and I think I paid like $6 for each of them. Gotta find them because they're out of print, they're spendy, and they deserve to be in the collection.
Right. Now, you know what? I'm gonna look into that because I do enjoy those.
Oh, they're
I'm actually sad that they didn't bring those out on Netflix either. You know, I would have thought they would have. Considering they did Clone Wars, the computer one on Netflix. You know, I
yeah.
thought they would have. I thought Disney would have just been like, yeah, put those along too. But I don't think they count those as canon anymore.
No, those are not canon.
That's kind of
Uh,
sad because they were some really solid stuff in that show.
no, there was the CG show, and it was supposed to be a follow up to that or continuation, and they kind of just threw out that out the door to make it their own, which I'm fine with because how phenomenal that Clone Wars series turned out to be.
Right. Right. Well, look, wow. We totally we went a little over with that, but that's fine. I like that because again, it just shows that we do know our Star Wars. We are Star Wars buffs, and if you're a Star Wars buffs, please comment, join us, let us know. I want to hear all your theories on who's in the back of the tank. You know. But that brings us to the meat and potatoes. I guess that was the potatoes, and this is the meat of the meat and potato show, right? This is the spotlight where we're going to talk about what J.J. Abrams said. Now, I spoke on this before. I want to hear what G95 has to say. Hey, are you there? G95, you back?
Yeah, I lost you for a second. I'm
Perfect.
sorry, I didn't hear the last few things you said.
All right, so basically, I want to go into the spiel that J.J. Abrams said about Rey's parents. And I've made a video already. It's up on
Yep.
YouTube. You can check out it on the channel. How I feel. But I want to know how you feel. Like, do you buy J.J. Abrams saying either Rey's parents were not in episode 7, and then his little comeback statement saying, oh, well, maybe they were. We might not have seen them, blah, blah, blah. What do you think about that? Because I already gave my answer, and I believe his first statement. I don't think we've seen Rey's parents. I absolutely don't believe it's Luke's daughter. I don't believe it's Han and Leia's kid. I think Rey is a product of the Force. What do you think?
I've never really considered the product of the Force. That does make I think she's the daughter of a rebel. Really, like you see in her downed AT-AT home on Jakku, she has the little wire doll that has the orange rebel pilot garb.
Which a lot of people signify as Luke Skywalker. I mean, I you see it and you're like, okay, but I know what you're talking about. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All the rebel pilots wore the orange. It wasn't just Luke. That's people reaching. And then she put on the helmet. You know, that tells me that she has a background with, like, I assume her parents were rebels. I think they were probably, or at least her father or something was a rebel pilot. I have a feeling her parents aren't anyone of major significance. I don't think they're Luke. She's Luke's daughter. I don't think she's Han and Leia's long lost daughter. I think, fuck, maybe she's like the daughter of one of Luke's friends or something who was in the rebellion.
Oh, like Biggs who died?
Yeah.
She could be Wedge's daughter. I would love that. I mean, it was Dennis Lawson.
Biggs, but someone else. There was
Wedge.
Wedge, yes.
My favorite. That's Rogue One. So that's Rogue Leader. Wedge, my main man.
So yeah, I had that conversation with a couple friends right after Episode 7 came out. We were talking about it, and they were like, "Oh, she's definitely Luke's daughter," because that continues with the tradition of Star Wars, and I think that's a dumb idea because it's too easy. It's too easy because that ruins the big reveal.
Yes.
It's too expected, but the little bits of a rebel background we got from her little home on Jakku, I think signifies that she's the daughter of a rebel pilot.
So
that'd be cool.
I like your idea. I do. I personally feel that the her rebel doll and the helmet and all that, I chalk that up to the Battle of Jakku. She's a scavenger. She wasn't there when it happened. She was plopped there. She becomes a scavenger. I mean, we see in the movie she's plopped there at a very young age. She starts doing whatever she has to do to survive. We know Unkar Plot, I think that's his name. The character Simon Pegg plays, the big alien. I'll give you 1/4 portion. We know that's the guy that took her in, and then probably you just go scavenge. You know, that's what you got to do. Bring back whatever and give me some stuff. The doll idea though is cool because I think she might have done that herself, created that, because I don't think if you're fighting this gigantic space battle, you know, you're weaving dolls. Unless your star pilot is like some kind of voodoo priestess or something, it's just weird, right?
But I think,
yeah,
we see her eating her dinner outside of the down AT-AT, and then after she finishes, she puts on the helmet, and she has this look of like it's comforting to her to put it on, like it's familiar and comfortable, and I think that is, to me, is a sign that, you know, maybe her father or something wore that helmet. Not necessarily that helmet, but a rebel
right
helmet.
I like that theory. I would go more along the lines of she knows right from wrong. So when she puts that on, she has to know that there was a reason why this battle was being fought, and her putting on that. Because think about it, it's kind of like a double, I forget the word, but she's putting a rebel helmet on, eating, but she lives in an AT-AT. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, all right, there's a rebel and there's also Imperial. And I'm not saying, because that's probably the only really good shelter on that planet, or where she's from on that planet. But I think it's more a sense of like daydreaming. She knows right from wrong. Deep down inside of her, I mean, she has the Force. We see that clearly later on. So I think it's her longing for, kind of like Luke when he looks out. He stares out and there's the double suns. There's more than this. I think that's when she puts on the helmet and smiles. I think that's what that signifies. There's more than this. Even though she says in the next like freaking 20, 30 minutes of that movie, I gotta get back to Jakku. You know, Finn's arguing, Jakku, you crazy? He don't want to go back. Han Solo's like, what the hell's in Jakku? You know, it's not until she touches that lightsaber that shit becomes clear. But, so yeah. I like your theory.
I gotta disagree with you.
Yeah, totally. Go ahead.
I wouldn't be upset if I turned out to be wrong and she's not the daughter of a rebel pilot. But I think, to me, from the knowledge that we have, from the information we've been given, that makes the most sense.
Okay, I like. All right.
As of right now.
I totally can't argue with you on that. Yeah.
But I also think, unless they were to kind of, Star Wars has always been like cyclical, kind of like, you know, what goes around kind of comes around. We see that in The Force Awakens. People criticize it for just being a, you know, ripoff of A New Hope, but it is kind of showing that the.
Can I butt in real quick? Listen, I hear that a lot, and I'm going to throw my best friend into this picture again. I get it. I understand. There's a lot of similarities between The Force Awakens and A New Hope. But ladies and gentlemen, watch both of those movies. They are completely different. I don't want to hear, oh, well, Finn was a stormtrooper and he rescued Poe Dameron. Luke wasn't a stormtrooper. He put on a costume. So stop the shit. Yes, I'll give you the Death Star and I'll give you Starkiller Base. And yes, it made me kind of go, ugh. But other than that, what is the similarities? What, Han died and Obi-Wan died? Come on, man. It's different. When you have a character you've grown up with, no matter your age. You've seen Star Wars before you saw Force Awakens. Unless you're 1 year old. You've seen these movies. You know who Han Solo is. That's different from knowing who Obi-Wan is. Well, for me at least. I grew up in the time when there was only 3 movies. I got to experience the prequels. And now, as an older man, I got to experience The Force Awakens. Are there similarities? Yes. Is it the same movie? Absolutely not. So I really wish people would stop that. It drives me nuts. It really does. Because I get it, but it's not the same movie. Let's say, hey, Godzilla 1985 was not Godzilla. Stop. And that's what I feel like with The Force Awakens compared to A New Hope. I'm sorry, I went on a fucking tangent right there. I ranted, and I am done. G95, take it away.
Well, it's good to know that we share opinions about them being, whether or not Force Awakens is a redo of A New Hope. Anyway, getting away from that, I was saying that the events of Star Wars have always been kind of cyclical. So it would make sense for Rey's parents to be someone of significance in the Star Wars universe, much like, Darth Vader to Luke. But I don't think we'll see that big kind of reveal because it's been done before. It's expected. I would rather have Rey's parents not be anybody of importance, really. I mean, why they left her is a big reason, but it's not necessary for the overall story. I don't believe, in my opinion, that her parents need to be someone important. They could have, they were on an important mission, I'm sure, is why they left, but I don't think they need to be the big guns in the Star Wars universe. We don't need them to be Luke or Han and Leia or fucking just whoever,
Right.
She doesn't need to be Kylo Ren's long lost cousin or General Hux's best friend's sister or something like that. I don't think we need that big inner world connection. I'm sure it'll happen to some degree. They'll pull something that we aren't expecting. But I would rather her parents just kind of be nobodies. Just people in the Rebel Alliance. Probably that's continuing with what my theory is. That there were people in the Rebel Alliance that had to go do a big thing to either try to stop the rise of the First Order or something, and shit got fucked up and they died. But
yeah,
we'll see. Only time will tell. Why they left and what happened to them is more or less why they left and why she doesn't have any memory of her Jedi training, because she totally was at that temple when Kylo Ren came and slaughtered everybody.
Absolutely. She saw herself. Did she? Yeah, she was there.
Yeah,
that happened.
She was there. So the question isn't who are her parents and where are they and stuff. It's more or less what happened to her and why did they leave, I guess. I don't think who they are is really that important.
And I'm glad you said all that, because it kind of was the question I wanted to ask. And I'm going to ask you guys, G-Show Land, listen, you hear us and what we're going to say, and I'm going to say it. You've heard me already tell my spiel if you saw the video. Does there need to be one of those I am your father moments in episode 8? You just heard G95 and what he had to say about that. I've already stated I don't think we need that. I don't think there needs to be a connection to Luke Skywalker other than he was my teacher. I don't think there needs to be a connection to Han and Leia. Because they didn't, again, like I said, unless there was this one big mind wipe that Luke did to everybody, a la Men in Black, it makes no sense. I would really like for Rey to just be this, like Anakin, birth of the Force. She's a product of the living Force. She was born through it. She came to be, and that's not saying we need Rey to go to the dark side, because that's what Anakin went through. She can do her own thing. She doesn't have the guy. Anakin had a whole council. And then he also had Palpatine spitting venom in his ear. Rey doesn't have that. She has Luke. So I would love to see how that would work in that dynamic. Because Snoke is already corrupted Ben Solo. We know this. Mm-hmm. Snoke is corrupted Ben Solo. And we don't know who Snoke is yet. That's another great theory that we'll probably get into that in next week's show. But I honestly believe Rey should be, again, ladies and gentlemen, this is all theory and speculation. Whatever they're gonna do, I'm gonna watch it. I'll be on board, whether I agree with it or not. This is not my end all be all. But what I will say is, I would like it to be. Rey is just a product of the Force, the way Anakin Skywalker was. She doesn't have to be a chosen one. It's just one of those things that happens. She is a product of the Force. And that's why everything comes easy to her. That's why in The Force Awakens, she can do this. She can fly the Millennium Falcon. She knew what buttons to press to shut the doors on those damn roly-poly monsters. That's why. And I totally buy into that, because she is a product of the Force. That's just how I feel. So yeah, yeah.
You have swayed me a little bit with that very impassioned speech. I could very easily go along with that. That's a great theory. The only question that comes to my mind is how she was a product of the Force. We can assume that Anakin was a product of the Force, with Darth Plagueis messing around with the Force and trying to create life. And maybe that's why Anakin kind of had a predestination, or a I'm missing the word, but
destiny?
More inclined to the dark side, because he was more or less created with messing around through the dark side. So what if, getting into my version of speculation,
right?
What if Luke was messing around with the Force and accidentally created life, being Rey?
That was going to be my answer to your question. I love that. Yeah, so we're on the same page.
She would be more like predisposed to be part of the light side of the Force, supposing Luke is the one who created her. If we're going along with that, the reason why Anakin turned to the dark side so easily was because he was more or less a product of the dark side. He wasn't evil, but he was born through messing with the dark side from a Sith.
So that's a really good question. So basically, we're saying, okay, not Plagueis, but Palpatine created Anakin through pure, I'm gonna mess with alchemy, pretty much.
But the Plagueis is the one who, Palpatine said that
he had the ability.
So strong, is so powerful. He could even create life.
But that's where I think Palpatine actually killed Plagueis. He learned the technique and then took care of his master.
Yeah, but
and through that, I think that's how Palpatine was able to do that. I honestly believe Anakin was Palpatine's son, quote unquote.
But canonically, more or less, I don't think it's totally official, but it's widely accepted as fact.
Plagueis did it?
That Plagueis did it, and that he and Palpatine were planning on ruling the galaxy together, and with Palpatine being kind of the front man and Plagueis being in the back.
That would make a lot of sense with the whole theory of Plagueis being Snoke thing.
Yeah, but after him getting the Supreme Chancellor position at the end of Episode 1, I think, he was... Yeah. Again, this is where I get a little bit fuzzy on whether or not this is officially canon. because it did happen in some either book or comic that he and Plagueis were celebrating, and that's when he killed Plagueis. So canonically, and I know this isn't audio, so I'm doing the air quotes.
That's right.
Or factually, again, air quotes, Plagueis was alive during the events of Episode 1. So it couldn't have been Palpatine I mean, it could have, but I find it doubtful that he was the one to create Anakin.
I could totally buy that theory. I can't even speak against that. I personally haven't read Darth Plagueis. I don't know if Darth Plagueis, the book, which I believe might be in canon. I'm not sure. I got to look into that. But I could totally buy into that theory. It makes a lot of sense. It really does. And the fact that if Snoke is Plagueis, Palpatine didn't do a good enough job. I'm just saying. But yeah, dude, I can't even argue with that. I like that theory because it goes back to what you were originally saying, which kind of makes sense from my eyes. Maybe Luke was manipulating the Force and created Rey, so technically, he's her father. You know?
Sort of, yeah, in a way.
In a way.
And she's more predisposed to the light because she was a product of the light in this totally hypothetical situation that we've more or less just come up with on the spot.
Absolutely, and that's what we do here because speculation is... Dude, we're going to change the damn G-Show name to Speculation Show, honestly, because it's just more fun that way, right? Yeah, I'm totally on board with all of that. Again, Star Wars, man, listen, I love Star Wars. I love all that shit. Star Wars is kind of life for me. I mean, before anything else, it was Star Wars. That was the first thing I remember seeing. And Star Wars always stuck with me. It stood, it stuck, it stays. So, we're both, I guess, on the same belief. We don't need a I am your father moment in Episode 8. I think with the whole retelling of Episode 4 in a way with Episode 7,
it leads way to Episode 8 being radically different.
Right.
I assume that's where you were going.
Yeah, we don't need to start off on a snowy planet, is what I'm saying. You know? Yeah. Especially because we saw at the end of Episode 7, it's an island. It has a huge mountain, and it's very beautiful and very scenic. That's where we start off. Dude, listen, man. Holy crap, man. We pretty much... We tackled the topics in a really good amount of time, dude, because we still got some time left. We're under an hour. We've got about 7 minutes under. And, I just want to say thank you, bro.
Even with that whole big, 15-minute Clone Wars discussion, holy shit.
Dude, that the 15-minute Clone Wars was 15 minutes after the first 15 minutes of the Rogue One trailer. So we nailed a half hour with that. And we nailed a half hour with this question of who are Rey's parents? Who do we think are Rey's parents? And do we need that I am your father moment? I think we both answered that, legitly. And now it's up to you guys out there in G-Show land to let us know what you think. Listen, stop being shy. Stop being coy. Get up on here. Let us know. Look, if you love Star Wars, you're going to listen to this. Listen to this podcast. It's a Star Wars podcast. We're going to do this every Tuesday. Listen to this one. Tell us what you think. Tell us if you think we're wrong. Tell us if you agree. I don't care. Do you care, G95?
I do not care.
That's my point. We want to hear what you guys got to say. It's going to be fun. That's the whole point of this thing. Let's get it going. Let's get the conversation moving. Let's talk, people, because let's be for real. We've got about 7 months, 8 months before Rogue One. Then we got a whole year after that before Episode 8. So there's going to be a lot of conversation. A lot. And who knows? Maybe we get a couple of you guys in here joining us in the conversation. What do you think about that? I would love that.
I would love that, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Fans and friends involved, let's fucking do it, man.
Let's fucking do it. You're the man, son. Listen, so that's going to be our episode. This is our inaugural Star Wars episode, right? We don't have a title yet. We'll get one soon. I'm going to put something out there. G-Show Land, think about a title for Star Wars, our Star Wars podcast. And maybe, we'll use it. If not, me or G95 will come up with something, right?
Yeah.
All right. So that will do it for our first episode, man. I thought it was pretty good. I am G1.
And I am G95.
And subscribe to the channel. Like this this post and just support us, bro. We're here and we ain't going nowhere. That's for real. So on behalf of G95, I'm G1 once again saying, may the force be with you.